Hi, welcome to How To with Janie. Today we're looking at Slimming World and a healthy lifestyle diet and drinking alcohol. So I'm going to give you lots of good tips. We're going to look at cocktails, beer, wine, some alternatives, what are the high sins, what are the low sins. So we're going to dive in and see which ones are the best. So let's look at the general sins in wine. So I've got my little cup here. I've just got this napkin in it just so you can actually see. So the bottom line for wine is the 125. Now this is just quite a small sort of tumbler size. This is a bottle of water, just so you can sort of see. It's not a big glass, but it's just to really show you that a small glass of wine is 125 ml, and that would come in around about 5 to 6 sins. So this is just to give you an idea. If you are asking for a large glass of wine, it's likely going to be either 175 or 250 mils. You can see the sins there, which is going to range between 7 and 12. So on my little cup, 125 is the top. So if you were just going to have like quite a large glass or like two small glasses, it is going to add up quite a lot. I would say it also as a bottle, 750 mils is up to about 26 sins. So I would say that it will add up quite quickly, and if you are pouring it yourself, just be well aware that when you are just reading in a wee leaflet or reading in your book, oh, a glass, you're thinking, oh, that's like a large glass. Now, when I was younger, everybody that drank wine would just used this tiny wee glass, and that was standard. Nowadays, I think everybody's got the same glasses from IKEA for wine, and they do tend to be quite big. And also, watch out when you're drinking red wine, because obviously that's a really big glass to let the wine breathe. So it is really tempting just to pour in some more. So remember that sweet wines and fortified wines will also have a few more sins added on because of the sugar content. So what can you do to minimise the sins in wine? Well, a really good tip is to go for a low alcoholic wine or something like a Weight Watchers wine. So there is this one here, Black Tower white wine, comes in at 5.5%, and that is 3 sins per 125 ml. Again, just remembering, got my little cup, just remembering that is like a really small amount. It's just that sort of lower level. So that comes in at 3 cents. That's really good. Same Prosecco. A normal Prosecco is 4.5 cents per 125. And you can also sort of water down your wine by just adding some low calorie soda or soda water. I'm not as keen on that, but that can help when you're trying to just limit the sins. So a really good option if you want to keep the sins down is to go alcohol free with your wine. So Marks and Spencers do a good one. Sainsbury's winemakers, they do red, they do white, and they do sparkling, and they're all at 1.5 sins per glass. Now this is the smaller glass that we talked about, the 125 millilitres, just a small one. And Black Tower also do a white wine as well, 1.5 sins. So that's a really good option, and it would be better for your health if you don't have the alcohol, and it's also really low in sins. So just a quick look at beer as well. So these are just some of the sins as a sort of general rule. So you see Amstel is quite low. That's 4 sins. Budweiser 7.5. Carling 8.5. Heineken 7. Peroni 6. San Miguel 8. And Stella Artois, I think that's just because it's a bigger bottle, to be honest. 440 ml is 9. So you can see there's quite a lot of sins again. If you're having a couple of bottles of beer, again, you're going to hit that sort of 15 mark very quickly. So, and there are some things that you can do just to cut down on the sins that you have with beer as well. So a great thing to drink is actually light beers. So light beer can mean one of two things. First thing is it normally means that it's low in alcohol, but sometimes it also means it's low in sugar and also then calories, which also means it's low in sins. So you do have to just check, because sometimes you can get low calorie beers which are still quite high in sugar and therefore high in sins. So these are some really good options. There's Coors Light, and that's 4.5 sins. Now, Budweiser make two different beers, and they do a Bud Light, which is 5, but they also do Bud Zero, and I really like Bud Zero. It's not got any alcohol in it, and it comes in at 2.5 Syns. And also Heineken 00 is a really good one, and that's 3.5 Syns. And sometimes what I do with these is I tend to either have Bud Zero or Heineken Zero, no alcohol apart from possibly a tiny amount, microscopic. What I do with them is I have them in beer shandy. So I use Diet 7 Up, you could use Sprite, and I just mix the two together, and that's a really nice drink, nice and refreshing and not too strong as well. And you can, if you do that with, if you have the can of 7 Up as well as one can of Bud Zero or one can of Heineken 00, then when you're having it as a shandy, then you can actually have like two drinks or just share it with someone, and that can come in at just 2.5 cents or less. So that's really good. So that's a good option. So on to cocktails, and everybody likes cocktails. So just wanted to go through just some of the better options that you can have. So you'll find that there are a lot of Syns in cocktails, and this is partly because of some of the juices and the syrups that are used are really high in sugar. And as we know, Slimming World tries to limit the amount of sugar that you have. So for instance, just a quick rundown, strawberry daiquiri is 12 Syns. So obviously that's nearly your daily allowance in one drink. Espresso martini, 11.5. Classic martini is a bit of a better choice, and that is 6 Syns. Whiskey sour comes in at 8 Syns. A margarita, which is my favourite, is 10 Syns with tequila, citrus, and syrup. So we're just going to look at some of the options that you can have just to try and minimalise the Syns that you're having in these drinks. So straight off, I would say strawberry daiquiri. One of the things I would say is if you get a nice like strawberry liqueur, and that would probably be roughly about sort of 5 or 6 Syns for a shot. And then if you can just go along the lines of blending up some strawberries, and again, Slimming World will say that that will add on a few Syns, but it will be much better than going along the classic strawberry daiquiri route. So if you want to just blend some strawberries, you can blend it with ice and just one shot of either a plain vodka or like a strawberry liqueur, then you could probably bring that down to sort of 6 or 8 Syns, which isn't quite so bad. And again, margarita, you can play about with margarita and you can try and bring it down a little. You could get sugar-free syrup. You can just get a little plain syrup. You can get them online, and you can get them on Amazon really easily. And if you've got a sugar-free syrup, that's a really good start. And then you could just work on the tequila, and obviously lime juice is Syn free, which is really good. So you could use your lime juice, real fresh lime, and just use sugar-free syrup, and that will start bringing you down. And then you're just using your Syns for the tequila. So everybody loves a classic pina colada. It just says summer and it says holidays, but they are quite high in Syns, are high in fat content as well as the sugar from the syrup. So in order to bring down the Syns, you can use a low-fat coconut milk, but please be aware that these are still quite high because coconuts are quite high in fat. Although you will also know that I'm quite an advocate of healthy fats. So if you want to get some healthy fats into your diet, then you go along this route. Use low-fat coconut milk, and you can also swap out some of the pineapple juice for some pineapple diet soda, and that might help. You obviously don't want it too fizzy because pina colada is not particularly fizzy, but you could make a sort of version for yourself. You can maybe just use pineapple flavoured soda and just do something just a bit different. You can get Monin do a really good sugar-free coconut flavoured syrup, and you can use that for coffee or sort of hot drinks, as well as putting into cold drinks, which is more classical for things like coconut flavour. And you can also use that in other recipes, and you can use it in overnight oats. So that's a good thing to have for your overnight oats. It makes them really nice. You can add some of your coconut in with some chopped orange, and that makes a really nice overnight oats. So I would say try and watch the Syns of a Pina Colada. So the basis of most cocktails and a lot of alcoholic drinks is obviously the spirits that you're going to be adding in. So I just want to run through exactly how much and how many Syns are in different spirits. So most spirits are the same. Most spirits are made through basically the alcohol process basically produces like a strong sort of sugar, which obviously gives you your sweetness into your alcohol. And that's where all the calories lie in alcohol, is mainly in sugar. So I just want to show you this little cup. So it's quite old, it's a bit bashed up, but this was a little cup that my husband got as a sort of giveaway, just to look at just the amounts that you're actually drinking. So it was Healthier Scotland did it. It was quite a long time ago. So it's a great wee cup, but I just want to show you that sadly a shot as it comes is 25 millilitres, and that is the very bottom like mark in there. So as you can see, that's absolutely tiny amount. So if you are getting a cocktail on holiday, you'll probably find that they're probably putting in probably definitely 2 shots into a drink when you're on holiday. So the two shots mark is 50 ml, and that's just sort of up there. So just to be aware of that. So probably a drink on holiday, or if you're making it yourself and not measuring, I would say you're probably more likely to put in about 50 ml, which then means you'll be doubling these Syns. So if you want to stick to your diet really rigidly, then I would say measure up, and you'll find it is. Obviously, you can get these wee cups, the wee shot glasses, and it is quite nice wee metal ones that you can get. So that will actually measure you quite accurately, or obviously something like this that's actually just going to show you. So just be aware of that. Vodka, gin, rum, whiskey, most spirits, things like peach schnapps, all that kind of thing, they're going to come in roughly about 2.5 Syns per shot, which actually isn't that bad if you add it into like a diet soda or a low calorie tonic. So that brings me on nicely to my favourite drink, is gin and tonic. So I would say that was probably my favourite drink if I was going to have an alcoholic drink, and it's a good slimming favourite through all the different programs that people do, but certainly Slimming World. You'll find that most people will suggest that if you like it, you can have a gin and tonic. I like it because it's quite refreshing, and Slimline Tonic also contains quinine, which is really good for you. It's good for your muscles, good for your health. It was actually invented in India for health benefits, so it's a really good thing to have. And as I say, I don't drink very often, so quite often I'll just have tonic with lime or lemon and some ice or whatever, and that'll be the drink that I'll have. I don't even have the gin. You can get non-alcoholic gin as well, and they would all still probably normally follow along the same Syn pattern. So straight up, I've suggested probably 5 Syns if you are having that extra shot. But if it's just in a pub or whatever, if you just ask for a gin and tonic, then you're looking at 2.5 Syns for your shot and nothing at all for your slimline tonic, which is a really good deal. So I would say stick with gin and tonic is a good idea when you're out and about. So I hope that's really helped you, and that you can keep a track of your Syns better if you're following the Slimming World programme, and also if you are following a healthy eating or low calorie diet, that this will really help you. You can exceed your amount very quickly. They do advise that you don't drink alcohol every day, obviously. Some people do. Some people think that they just have a wee glass of wine every night, but that can creep up and become more of a sort of habit than you want it to be. So I would be suggesting maybe once or twice a week, once a few times a month, a few times a year. I really don't drink alcohol very much at all. It doesn't really agree with me, but I do really enjoy the alcohol-free beers, as I mentioned, and some alcohol-free wine as well sometimes. So I will do some other videos about other drinks for Slimming World, so just keep your eye out for them and subscribe, and you'll get notifications of new videos. And I hope that's really helped you, just to think how much you're actually drinking. This is quite a small cup, and you can see how much you could be going over a suggested amount. So stay safe, and I hope that you really enjoy your Slimming World journey and that you are continuing to lose weight. We'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.